Well, hi, everybody. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Deborah Cushman, Dean Dazell, and Amy Krauser, and we're so excited to talk about Literacy Minnesota. So welcome, Deborah. I'd love for you to tell us about Literacy Minnesota and about your role, just to get started here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so Literacy Minnesota is, we're having our 50th anniversary this year. So that makes us pretty old for a nonprofit. My role here is Associate Director. So our team handles all of the back-end administrative roles for the agency. We're about a $6 million organization. We've got about 50 staff. So payroll, finance, accounting, technology, facilities, all of that stuff. In terms of the work that we do in communities, our program expense budget is about half and half in terms of working directly with literacy learners. So that could be adults studying ESL, folks going for their GED. We also work with kids. We have a summer reading program. So we do lots of work on the ground with learners. But the other half of what we do is a little less visible, but super important. And we reach thousands and thousands of learners by supporting other groups with things like AmeriCorps programming, tutor training, and digital literacy platforms across the country. So our teams are really busy and a little bit tired, but pretty excited to be doing this work.
Oh, you're doing amazing work. Thank you for that. And what's your role, Deborah?
Yeah, so I kind of fill in for the executive director when that person's not here, and kind of keep all of the admin functions rolling with a team of about 7 people who work in administration.
Great. Well, thank you again for joining us. Dean, would you tell us a little bit about you and your role at All-in-One Accounting, and then Amy next quickly, and then we'll go on with our questions.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Heidi. I currently play a controller role with All-in-One Accounting, joined, and then also with Literacy Minnesota. I think we started working together back in March, April timeframe, and really doing a little bit of of everything. They've had some staffing changes, so I had the opportunity to work with their existing team alongside Debbie, and then Ted, who's on Debbie's team, and some of their other staff. And got right in and had an opportunity to work with the board of directors and their outgoing executive director and their incoming executive director. So it's just been a lot of fun working with them in primarily a controller aspect, but also some CFO aspects as well.
And I'm an accountant, so I'm kind of a little bit more in the details. And I think, more specifically with Literacy Minnesota, I got pulled in on some payrolls and some kind of some special projects, things like that we're doing some reconciliation. So more just the detail, cleanup and running payroll and things like that.
Great. So what challenges, Deborah, were you facing, and what motivated you to engage with All-in-One Accounting to solve them?
Yeah, great question. So as Dean mentioned, we've had some leadership changes here. Not unlike most of the rest of the world. We've just got a lot of staffing turnover happening, and our longtime executive director actually moved over to run our national division, which is growing like crazy. And so the board of directors is in a search right now for an executive director. And we also had some staffing changes in accounting. We had a retirement, and I think we're still feeling the effects of that retirement because our senior accountant had been with us for about 15 years. And as you know, the market is just really tricky right now. It's hard to fill accounting positions, and we also want to recognize that eventually we're going to have a new finance director. They're going to want to build their own team. So we just really needed capacity from the outside to help get us through basically 2022.
Debbie, what led you to All-in-One Accounting? What path did you take to arrive at All-in-One?
Yeah, actually, our audit firm was really familiar with you guys and had great things to say. And I said, gosh, I don't know, should we try to find contractors? Are there any services who could kind of fill in the gaps where we have some holes? And I just picked up the phone or filled out an online web form. I can't remember which, and All-in-One got right back to me, and we just took it from there.
Excellent, thanks. And then how have you benefited with engaging with All-in-One Accounting?
Well, I mean, in addition to getting the work done, I guess, right? Having your perspective, Dean, and yours, Amy, and just knowing that you're bringing best practices and a deep understanding of accounting and finance to the organization, to have some fresh eyes on the things that we're doing. I feel like our senior accountants and our other finance staff have left us, with some really good procedural documents and some good process flows, and they can always be improved. and always just trying to figure out what are the other things that we can add to how we do things so that we're really truly sustainable. And next time someone retires, we're not feeling quite as much pain around those shifts in responsibility. The other thing is that these growing pains that we've been having, they're really great. It's terrific that our organization is growing and changing, and we've really benefited from the outside expertise and perspectives around that growth and how do we handle some of these new things. Like an example is how do we handle sales tax now that we're selling things potentially to organizations who aren't sales tax exempt, those kinds of things. Yeah.
And how would you say engaging with all-in-one accounting has improved your day-to-day life?
Well, I sleep better at night, knowing that, okay, well, we can check in with Dean, or we can see if Amy can come help us with a few things. Another example is that our development fundraising area had some staffing turnover as well. And so reconciling those donations with accounting is something that normally would have happened monthly. And we just weren't able to keep up with that. And so we've really benefited from being able to kind of pick up the phone and be like, hey guys, we have sort of this like special project where we don't really have the person power to get it done. And I've really appreciated how responsive All-in-One has been.
What have you learned from working with us and working with All-in-One?
Well, I've learned that you have a lot of runners on staff, so that's been
That's true.
So that's been fun to talk about. That would probably be a question that our actual finance and accounting staff would know more about, kind of being in the details, just because I sit kind of more like 20,000 feet. But what I've learned about the capacity that All-in-One has is that we haven't had a single question or an issue or a challenge where we've kind of handed over to All-in-One accounting where you guys haven't been able to come back pretty much right away and say, well, yeah, you could do this, you could do A or B, or like, this is actually the answer, or let's check with the auditors, or just really point us in the right direction so that we can do what we need to do.
Great.
Dean and Amy, what has been your biggest impact that you see in this engagement?
It's a great question. I think, and if you don't mind that I go first, Amy, is one of the things that I've really, and I think Debbie had a great segue into that, is being able to tap into the expertise at All-in-One. So where I may not, although I have 20 years of nonprofit accounting and finance experience, I don't know it all, definitely don't know it all. And being able to field those questions and get answers for Debbie or for Ted or for Eric or for Renee in a quick turnaround. So I think that's probably what I'm most proud of as well, is being able to get them the information that they need to do in order to do their business and focus less on the day-to-day accounting stuff. So helping them achieve their mission and seeing some of the great work that they do, just sitting in the board meetings, in the finance committee, and some of the discussions, being a part of that is really great.
So for me, I think just, like Debbie was saying, I think it's hard. There's just the industry as a whole, there's been a lot of turnover and a lot of gaps. And I think just being able to kind of step in there and, fill those gaps has been something that I think is always helpful. And then, also just having a fresh set of eyes. I think one of the things I did was payroll, and just having somebody else come in and run that payroll and see like, okay, what, like Debbie said, they actually have a really great process in place and it's documented, and we were still able to kind of go through it and, find maybe a couple other areas to look at. And so I think that's kind of the big thing. It's always nice to have that fresh set of eyes on a process that's been there for a while.
Absolutely. Thank you. So Debbie, at All-in-One Accounting, we have 3 uniques, and they are clear communication, collective knowledge, and collective collaborative power. Let me say those again. Clear communication, collective knowledge, and collaborative power. Do you see all-in-one accounting exemplifying these uniques? Have you experienced that? And if so, can you speak to that?
Yeah, great question. There's a lot of C's in there. That's
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I can speak briefly to each of those. So in terms of the communication, we have a weekly huddle with me and Dean and our senior grants accountant. And Dean keeps us organized and on track, things that were completed, things in process, things that are coming up. It's probably, I think it's fair for me to say that is the most organized and efficient meeting I have every week. Just keeping that going, and then with individuals assigned to those different tasks and knowing kind of who's moving that forward. And I've actually been thinking about ways that I could integrate that kind of organization into some of the other team meetings that I have going forward. Communication's been great. The collective knowledge, a great example there was the our kind of the QuickBooks migration that we needed to do. And Dean being able to just, check in with a few folks there, and it's like, yep, we've got someone who knows how to do that really quickly and efficiently. And there are a bunch of other examples too. I know where you've said, I'll go back to the team and we'll make that happen. And in terms of collaboration, I mean, just being able to invite Amy in, a month or two ago to join us with these sort of loose ends that we just don't seem to have enough person power to quite make things happen. That collaboration has been really fantastic. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Similar questions, this time focused on our core values. All-in-one's core values are commitment, foresight, relationships, tenacity, and teamwork. Do you see All-in-one living these core values in your engagement with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all of those. I like tenacity. I hadn't really thought about that as a core value for an organization, but it makes sense from an accounting perspective. Yeah, no question that when we're at the table and we need something, I mean, all-in-one accounting is just right there, and engaged and committed to what needs to happen, following through, planning ahead. Right now, in terms of foresight, we're planning ahead for the audit because we're a July to June fiscal year, and that's probably one of the processes that requires the most foresight. Our audit firm will, of course, be guiding us along the way with that. And then, yeah, we kind of talked about teamwork in that earlier question. I get the sense, obviously I haven't, visited your location or, kind of hung out at your headquarters, but I can tell that there's a lot of teamwork and collaboration that happens at All-in-One.
Any unexpected greats working with All-in-One?
Unexpected. I don't know. I kind of expect it now after after spending some time with all of you. I guess if I had to kind of point to one thing, it would be the speed with which your team is able to advance stuff. I think I've worked in the corporate sector before and in also in the public sector, and there is something about nonprofit time that's just a little bit, I don't know. I've been in nonprofits for 20 years, but I'm still not quite used to kind of how long some things might take, and I really appreciate that. Like, hey, let's get these things crossed off the list. Let's keep it moving. Let's get it done. I think we really benefit from that.
Bit of a different angle of this question. If you're having coffee or lunch with a similar executive leader in another nonprofit, and you were to describe your experience with All-in-One into 1 to 3 sentences, how would you do so?
Well, I guess I think kind of in a linear way. I think if someone said, "Hey, would you recommend working with these guys?" I would say the intake process and how I was greeted as a new client was fantastic. It was, I think I heard back like the same day or the next day, and got connected in terms of what you would need to know about us and the information we need to provide. So I would talk about like getting started. I would talk about the just the collective knowledge, like the power of how much collective knowledge All-in-One has as a resource, and that our ongoing relationship has just been actually really fun. I don't think of accounting as fun necessarily. I know probably all of you feel differently about that, but everyone we've met and talked to has been so collegial and just down to earth and friendly, and that just makes the work better. So yeah, I think those are the things I would talk about.
Great, thanks.
Well, Debbie, thank you so much. Thank you for spending time with us and sharing your thoughts and feedback. And thank you for being a client who's doing amazing work out in the community and making such a big difference. And Dean and Amy, thank you for your amazing work and the impact you've had on this client. And I just really appreciate your time today. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.